up being dominated by what happened 12 years ago in South Africa with Luis Suarez and the penalty red card incident. There's going to be a yellow card dished out here, and the referee, Ismail El-Fat, is not shy in getting his cards out. It's Militao who's been booked for a poor challenge in midfield, really unnecessary as well, a high foot trying to get the ball off Ngamalu, and I think it's a fair booking.
Yeah, it is, and Ngamalu wasn't really travelling goalwards, wasn't he? He was going backwards, and Militao just getting a little bit too keen there, following the man all the way back into his own half. He could have easily just dropped back, allowed a teammate to go on and further press, but he's committed the foul, and the referee, like we've said, he's a bit trigger happy today, isn't he? Getting his card straight out. He's not going to take any funny business from these two sides, and it seems like we're already on course for a bit of a feisty game.
Absolutely, as Christopher Wu and Enzo Ebos, the two Cameroonian centre-backs. Now, there is a little bit of a problem for Cameroon in that their first-choice defenders, Jean-Charles Castellato and Nicolas Nkulu, neither of them in the squad, and I was reading on Twitter that both of them were absent from training yesterday, and obviously it's two problems that are severe enough to prevent them from playing in this game, and they're going to be a huge miss. I mean, throwing in two essentially rookie defenders who've not been playing up against a Brazil attack that has the talent that it does.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit concerning, but so far they've started fairly well. I think Brazil's quality will eventually start to shine through, and we'll see them tested time and time again. It's definitely not an easy first test, is it, for them two, but they come forward here, Cameroon.
Yeah, Tolo linking up with Ngamalu on the far side, but Militao gets the challenge correct this time, and he's got to get every challenge from now until the end of the game correct as well. Cameroon pushing quite high up the field. They are playing like a side who know they need to win. They shouldn't play in any other manner, but it's quite an eye-opener to see them try and take the game to Brazil in the manner that they are, as Anguissa plays a pass now to Collins Fai, the Cameroonian right back. That's a really slack ball though, and he's given it straight to Fabinho, forward to Gabriel Jesus, who was brought down, but Brazil retained possession, so the referee deciding not to blow up for a free kick, and Cameroon have got to get everything absolutely spot on tonight. They've got to take chances that are presented to them, because Brazil haven't yet conceded a goal in this World Cup, and although historically we associate Brazil with flair football and attacking players, they have looked very, very sturdy in this tournament, and overall they've got the complete package really, as an offside flag went up against Gabriel Martinelli. They've got lots of attacking players who can do the damage. They've got plenty of resilience in defence as well. I think you can see why, looking at the opening two games, why Brazil were many people's favourites coming into this World Cup. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, like you said, you can't really say much more about their attacking flair, and I think the question marks coming into the tournament were there maybe defensive frailties with the wing-back options not looking as strong as many other nations, but so far it seems like they've really been tested. They haven't got out of second gear yet. Pretty easy win against Serbia. Switzerland, like we said, flattered the Swiss side, and the 1-0 could have easily have been more. They probably struggled to get the ball in the back of the net for most parts, but in terms of defensive work, really rarely been tested, have they, Brazil? They really seen any teams take the game to them, so it'll be interesting to see how they do cope if they do come up against a side who look a lot more threatening going forward.
Yeah, Brazil's next game is likely to be against South Korea. That's the top of Group G versus the runner-up of Group H, and that game will take place on Tuesday the 6th of December, so just 4 days in between these two games. Jesus with a nice back heel to Anthony over on the far side. Anthony reverses it to Alves, who gets the cross in. It's a good header away from Christopher Wu, and then the ball goes airborne, and Davis Apassi will come and collect it. Alves, at the age of 39 years old, he's playing his football in Mexico right now. It does seem a little bit strange that Brazil haven't got any other players they can play at right back, but a real testament to his willingness to play and his fitness as well to go on at that age.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't expect to see much of him in the tournament, like we haven't really done so far, but with it being a game that they can maybe take their foot off the gas slightly, as they are already qualified now, it's a very good chance to add someone like Alves with a bit of experience into the 11, and he's obviously got the armband. He's going to command that back line with the changes coming in like we've seen. It was probably pretty evident that he was going to play with him not really featuring from now on till the end of the tournament, unless they do get struck with injury. So it's a good chance for him to get minutes in, and like we said, it is at his age, it's a real testament to, like you said, his fitness and his willingness to still perform at the highest level.
Absolutely, cap number 125, the former Barcelona man. Brazil tried to link something up in the meantime down the right-hand side, but the ball forward from Anthony to Gabriel Jesus was massively overhit. There's a real Premier League look to this Brazil lineup this evening. 6 of the starting 11 currently ply their trade in the English top flight. You can extend that to 7 if you want to include Alex Telles in that, and Jesus and Martinelli in particular. That'll be a partnership that should blossom at international level, considering how well they've been playing for Arsenal in the Premier League. I know Jesus hasn't necessarily been scoring bucketfuls of goals, but he has provided a real difference to that Arsenal front line as Bremer plays it forward now to Alves, who's going to leave it for Anthony, who has to scamper back a little bit to collect the ball over on the far side. But Brazil playing, by the way, in their changed blue strip with white shorts. It's the same strip that England fans will not so fondly remember, because it was the kit they were wearing when they won the 2002 quarter-final 20 years ago now, when Ronaldinho chipped David Seaman. Here's Fabinho. Fabinho sweeps it across to Anthony on the far side, and he's up against Nuhu Tolo and really fancy his chances, but Tolo's done well. He takes the ball off Anthony, who's maybe just wanted to overcomplicate things ever so slightly. And Brazil run it back in midfield. It's back with Bremer now, who is at the opposite end to Alves in terms of his international career, winning just his 2nd cap this evening. Bremer, the Torino centre-back. Not a good backwards header by Ongisa in midfield, but Ebossi comes over and sweeps it out into touch for a throw-in. Brazil on the far side. Now Anthony links up with Alves, and here is the Manchester United midfielder Fred. Looks for Martinelli at the back post, and it's a header towards target. Really well saved by O.A.T. Best chance of the game so far. Martinelli wasn't picked up. I actually think it's a really good header, but O.A.T. makes a good save. Yeah,
he's done really well there, Martinelli, to get a lot of power behind it. Be easy for him there to glance over the crossbar, but it's poor defending from Fai at the back post. He's not marking up his man. Fred with a lovely ball to pick out Martinelli right on the button. Goalkeeper didn't know whether to come or go there. He was stuck in 2 minds, O.A.T. But really good save in the end. He's recovered from his mistake and he's tipped it over the crossbar. Could easily see that as 1-0 Brazil.
Rodrigo swings the corner in towards the back post, but it had a little bit too much pace on it, and he was asking an awful lot of Jesus, who was slightly off balance as he tried to reverse the ball across the 6-yard box. It goes well over. So Martinelli, without question, having the best chance of this game so far. He's winning just his 5th cap for Brazil, 21 years old, and been around at Arsenal for a few years now, so perhaps seems a little bit older than 21 suggests. Still 0-0 in the other game between Serbia and Switzerland as O.A.T. clears the ball long. It's a backwards header by Fabinho. It's not the best, but he does well to make up for his error, and he wins the ball back off Muli Gambalu. We've not seen much yet of Vincent Aboubakar, the Cameroon captain, as Brazil motor now down this near left-hand side. Martinelli will look to cross it. Drops now for Anthony, who glances a header back to Dani Alves, and then he and Fred just leave the ball to one another. It allows Cameroon to nip in and clear the ball long. Really good chest control, double chest control actually from Bremer. Very composed play from the Brazil centre-back. I think the game has settled into the pattern that we maybe expected it to, where Brazil having much of the ball, and Cameroon, obviously we know that they've got to come out and win, which means they can't afford to concede as well. So when Brazil are in possession of the ball, they're happy to sit back in their shape.
Yeah, they are, but when they do have the ball, they need to be clinical with it. They need to move it quickly. They can't afford to miss chances, so they need to be on the money every time they do get that ball in towards the final third, as they do need that goal to go through, and they need the win. But for now, we've seen a very dominant performance from this Brazil side, like we have done so far in this tournament. They've dominated the ball, but for their sake, you'd hope that they wouldn't be as frustrating in the final third as they were against Switzerland, because it seems like they could have killed the game off a lot earlier than what they did.
Martinelli's cross cleared well by Cameroon. It comes to Anthony on the far side, and Brazil going to get the first corner kick of the contest, and it's that battle, that duel between Anthony and Nuno Tolo that we're seeing plenty of so far. It's going to be the left foot of Anthony to take this set piece over on the far side, the £82 million man that Manchester United bought during the summer. Just waiting for the referee to give the instruction for him to take this corner kick. He wanted to have a word with a couple of defenders in the box, maybe not happy with the overtly physical nature. The corner comes in, it's half cleared by Cameroon, and it comes all the way now to Brian Mbeumo, the Brentford wide man, and Cameroon will get the free kick. A bit of a wasted opportunity. 17 minutes on the clock. It's Cameroon 0, Brazil 0. Independent off-tube studio commentary, and we will keep you up to date with the goings-on elsewhere in Qatar, where Serbia faced Switzerland in a match that was a repeat of one that we saw in the World Cup 4 years ago in Russia. Free kick is awarded to Cameroon over on the far side. Alves just getting a little bit too close to Ungamelu for the referee's liking, and Ungamelu goes down to the ground. They've shown spirit of Cameroon in this World Cup. It was a bit of a meek 1-0 loss to Switzerland, but 3-1 down against Serbia. I think everyone may have thought they were down and out, but they did well to come back to draw that game 3-3, and they've just got to try and show that same sort of spirit. They can't take Brazil on at their own game because they will get beaten. They'll have to find their own way to try and get past Brazil.
Yeah, they will, and like you said, it was a really spirited comeback. You thought they were down and out against Serbia, but I think the difference maker was Vincent Aboubakar coming on and changing the game completely when he came on. It gave them that sense of directness. They knew where they were aiming for. But the great goal, the flick over the head of the goalkeeper, and that really spirited the comeback, didn't it? They felt like they had a chance in the game ever since that moment. I think it was a pretty fair draw. Both sides had their moments where they were on top. So I think in the end the draw was the right call. But it all changed when Aboubakar came on, and it's good to see him starting because they need that man up front to aim at, someone to really direct their focus on, and they know where they're heading. When the ball goes through him, everything just seems to work.
The ball is back now with Ederson, who in many ways has redefined what a modern goalkeeper can do with his fantastic distribution. There are those that argue that Ederson should be in the Brazil side ahead of Alisson, but I think Alisson just has that little bit more seniority than his Manchester City compatriot. But Ederson, mentioned early on in the game, an option to have off the bench. Cameroon coming forward now with Maxime Choupo-Moting. He's carrying the ball well, he's still getting to it, really fighting, and that was 3 Brazil players that had to come across and stop Maxime Choupo-Moting. It was Fabinho who eventually got the clearance. Really well worked by Maxime Choupo-Moting, just trying to bulldoze his way through the Brazil defence, and he proved a bit of a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, he did, and it's that sort of spirit you're going to need to see from this Cameroon side if they want to get anything from the game. Just keep driving with the ball and don't be afraid to take on a man or two. He's quietly having a really good season at Bayern Munich, and he's translated that into the World Cup. Here he is again.
Yeah, he's on the ball, left-hand side of the box, waits for the overlap that comes in, and Ederson had to come out. It was Tolo's cross. Ederson got there just ahead of Ungamelu, and if Ederson hadn't have got there, that would have been an easy tap-in for 1-0, slightly against the run of play, although in the last couple of minutes at least, Cameroon are beginning to show a little bit more in attack. And on the 20th minute, Cameroon starting to make Brazil panic slightly.
Yeah, they are. And it was a really nicely worked move over on the left-hand side. It wasn't picked up by Dani Alves. Choupo-Moting had all the time in the world to wait for the overlap. Tolo came in and provided that exactly, and it was a really nice overlapping move. Anthony wasn't tracking back either. They're a little bit sloppy defensively there, Brazil. And carries on that way, and they're going to get caught out because the ball in from Tolo was fantastic. Like we said, it was right in the danger zone, wasn't it? In that corridor of uncertainty, Ederson had to just punch it away. It was way too much pace on it to try and catch it. So he did enough in the end, the goalkeeper. But like you said, Ungamelu was arriving, and he was waiting for that easy tap-in.
Bad news for Cameroon from the other group game because Switzerland have taken the lead against Serbia, and it's Xherdan Shaqiri restored to the starting 11. He was dropped from Switzerland's side that played Brazil, and I covered that game and I was baffled by the decision, but he's back in the lineup and he's back scoring goals. So Switzerland lead Serbia by 1-0 as the cross comes in for Brazil, and it's lifted well over the bar by Fred, who again is making those runs from midfield. Tellez puts the cross in. It's laid off to Fred by Gabriel Jesus. In fairness to Fred, he's got an awful lot to do. He's shooting on the swivel. It's on his unfavoured right foot as well, so no real surprise that he sends that one a long way over the bar.
No, he was always backpedaling there, wasn't he? The ball was behind him. He's done really well to take a deflection there. We're now going to see a Brazil corner, but yeah, like you said, very difficult for Fred to try and direct that goalwards on the half turn. But be interested to see whether they can threaten from this set piece.
Yeah, plenty of bodies in there in blue shirts. Rodrigo takes the corner. It's an absolutely wretched delivery, and I think he's probably a bit fortunate there that he's earned another bite at the cherry, because it was cleared by Abu Bakar straight out into touch. This has got to be a better delivery from the Real Madrid man. Rodrigo steps up, takes the corner. Again, it's not a great one. It's slightly better, but it's headed away at the near post. I don't know whether with that one, actually, Rodrigo was maybe trying to be cheeky and look for that near post that wasn't really covered. We're seeing it more and more these days, as we're just getting replays on our screen of the Switzerland goal scored by Xherdan Shaqiri. Did take a slight deflection on its way through to goal, but I think it was probably going to the back of the net anyway. Anyway, we are midway through the first half of our featured game, Cameroon against Brazil. It's not really taken off yet. Hopefully, Harry, you can bring us a goal.
Yeah, hopefully so. As battling at the back there is Rodrigo Goes, the Real Madrid man. He's going up against Woe in that back line. They're trying to play out from the back, Cameroon, and it's not quite working so far. They're playing on fine margins here to try and keep hold of the ball instead of pumping it long. I mean, it's a bold strategy, but if it works, they'll look great, but it's leaving themselves very exposed. And Rodrigo, you've already mentioned his poor delivery. That's a hat-trick of poor corners, the first one early on to the back post towards Jesus. Wasn't a great delivery itself, so surprised to see him still the man that they're relying on to take those set pieces. But nonetheless, Cameroon back in possession in the middle of the park on halfway. Fabinho's trying to wrestle the ball away, and he's done really well there to carry them out of play. They're going to get a free kick here, Brazil, as Fabinho, after some really nice defensive work to win the ball back, he's been hacked to the ground. The referee called a stop to the game instantly. Koundé, the man in question, he brought Dani Alves down, it was in the end actually, who ended up winning the ball back. So he's won his side a free kick on halfway, just allows Brazil a bit of a chance to throw some body forward. Yeah, absolutely, another opportunity for them. Just getting another look at the replay of Ederson's punch out from goal, because it was a really good cross that came in from Nuno Tolo. It may have been booked early on, but I think going forward at least he's looked pretty handy. Anyway, Brazil attacking down the left with Martinelli. Martinelli looking to take on his man. He gets to the byline, does really well there. Gabriel Martinelli plays it in towards his fellow Arsenal teammate Gabriel Jesus, and he couldn't quite direct it goalwards. He was under pressure from a couple of Cameroon defenders, but they're still moving forward here. Brazil, as another cross comes in deep towards the far post from Martinelli, looking for Anthony, headed away there by Tolo, and they still will come forward here, Brazil. They're not allowing this Cameroon side any time to reset and rest, as the ball once again comes in from Dani Alves. Martinelli was creeping in towards that front post, and it's another really good defensive clearance from Wu to get there ahead of Martinelli, who's really starting to come alive in this game. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good clearance from Wu, because Martinelli is starting to pop up. He's starting to get into space now. This is the 5th corner that Brazil have had in just 25 minutes, and those Cameroonian defenders have got to be on their mettle. It's taken short. Yeah, Anthony looking to deliver the ball in after he plays a smart 1-2 with Dani Alves. Tried to play the ball in from a more favourable angle. Didn't quite work at first time, so Alex Tellez on halfway will direct it straight towards Jesus, who's drifted out a little bit wider. Martinelli will occupy that central role, but to no avail, as Cameroon look to play out from the back here with Koundé, who's trying to break past Fabinho. He's been brought to ground. Really nice work from Koundé to show a bit of fight and aggression to get his team further up the pitch, trying to buy a bit of respite for his defensive compatriots, but they've got a chance for the free kick. They can throw a few bodies here. Yeah, I thought that was a bit of a 50-50 actually, but Koundé did well to show some energy and scamper forward and win Cameroon the free kick. I mean, I don't know, they probably will have some sort of correspondence with what's happening in the Serbia-Switzerland game, so you can almost understand if the Cameroon players almost feel deflated. They are in that horrible position where it's not in their hands, and even a victory might not be enough for them, and as it stands, they're going out finishing 3rd in the group. Yeah, they've got to hold their hands together and pray that Serbia could potentially do something. And as we say that, we're getting reports that there could be a switch up in the other game in this group. It could be an equaliser for Serbia, and it seems as though they have got that. So Cameroon will be thinking themselves very lucky here, as it seems as though everything is back in their hands once again, as Serbia have equalised. Alexander Mitrovic, he's that man who's popped up again. He is inevitable for that Serbia side. He looks like he scored to give them an equaliser, and could even potentially give Serbia a little bit of confidence that they could maybe even go and progress from this group. So everything is all still to play for in this group, and well, we've seen drama today already in this World Cup, and it looks like we could be heading for some more late drama.
Absolutely so. I mean, Serbia getting the equalising goal. Alexander Mitrovic has been such a trusted source of goals for them, and they've got some massive talents up front as well in Dusan Vlahovic and Luka Jovic, so he's the trusted man. I mean, Brazil are just completely relaxed compared to the other three teams in this group, and absolutely no idea what's going to happen come what the end of this game.
As it stands, a goal and a win would progress Cameroon through to the round of 16. It'll be the first time they've managed to do so in 32 years in the history of this World Cup. As Brazil look to move forward now, it's good play from Rodrigo to keep fighting and moving forward. He's been brought to ground there by Koundé, and that's the second bite of the cherry for him, so he will go into the referee's book. That's the third of this evening's game, and the referee definitely not shy to bring the cards out. Koundé definitely a yellow card. He had the first nibble, the referee played advantage. He's brought Rodrigo to the ground once again. It's a definite yellow. Yeah,
I mean, I think he was labouring as Rodrigo was running away from him with the ball. One bite and then he brings him down, and it's in a really threatening position as well. There's a whole array of players for Brazil who could take this free kick, and I think the only decent thing for Cameroon is it's quite central, so sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to work the right angle to get a strike towards goal. Maybe it's just slightly right of centre, so would suit a left footer if they've got one that they can trust. They've got Anthony on there, Alex Tellez as well. I'm not sure who's going to take this free kick, to be honest.
Yeah, we just see pictures on our screen of Alexander Mitrovic's fantastic equaliser. It was a great header from the Fulham striker. He's a man in fine form this season. He could have given his country a little bit of hope. It's going to take a lot for them to get something out of this group stage of the World Cup if they were to progress. Brazil with the chance though from this set piece, like we've said, a whole array of players standing over the set piece. Rodrigo, Dani Alves, Alex Tellez, just three of the players who look want to step up, maybe, just maybe, perform a slight bit of magic for their country to make it a complete 100% record in this group stage. If they do go on to get an early goal, it would flatten the hearts of the Cameroon players and fans around the world. The referee's just having a word with the wall to make sure the Brazil wall that they've placed in front of the Cameroon one is further back enough. It's Dani Alves who has the shot. It's Rodrigo actually who has the bite at the cherry. Doesn't get anywhere further than the front of the wall though. Ricochets back into Brazil's favour though. A ball over the top, looking for the runner Martinelli. Can he keep it on this near touch line? Good defending there from Fai to get the ball away from him and let it roll out for a goal kick.
Really disappointing. I mean, the way that Alves was stepping backwards, it looked like he was going to go for the pile driver-esque effort. I mean, some of the Brazil players are claiming that it came off the hand of Christopher Wu, but you know, at such short proximity, I don't think any handball could be given for that. Rodrigo, set pieces haven't been his friend tonight. That's a number of corner kicks that he's wasted. It wasn't a good free kick either.
No, it wasn't. At some point we've got to expect Brazil to change things up in terms of set pieces if we get anything from them. It's the goal kicks taken there from Messi. Ball forward headed down by Choupo-Moting, and he get the ball back here as battling with Dani Alves on that far side. He's done well to win the throw-in for his side. He's doing a dirty work, Choupo-Moting, which can only be commended from his manager, Rigobert Song, who's watching on from the touchline. He's going to be really happy with how his team's performed in this World Cup, considering they came in as underdogs in this group. African side who did well in the Cup of Nations, time previous winners, as they look to move forward here. Alex Tellez, big sliding challenge from him, just stops them in their tracks. They will have a chance though from the throw-in. The Brentford man trying to take on Alex Tellez. Gonna only settle for a throw on this near side. It's with Fai looking for an option forward. Choupo-Moting tries to flick the ball closer towards the Brazil penalty area. Gieser there with another attempt to get the ball forward, but nobody really on the end of it. They're struggling for options in that final third. Ederson will claim that pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, over half an hour into this game, and Cameroon haven't really made Ederson do any work apart from that cross that came in. Brazil coming forward now.
Rodrigo looking to move forward, a massive sliding challenge coming in, and that's definitely going to be the 4th yellow card of this evening's game. And Fai has a look at the referee. The referee just smiles while looking back at him. I think they both know that is nothing other than a yellow card, a real cynical foul. He's going to miss the next match if they do end up progressing through the group, as he slides in on Rodrigo, who was definitely aiming for goal there, and a cynical challenge met by nothing less than a yellow card.
Yeah, the problem with that challenge is he does get something of the ball, but he brings down Rodrigo before that happens, so it's a definite yellow card. The referee taking no nonsense this evening. 4 yellow cards dished out already. This is probably in a better position in terms of having a strike at goal, looking to try and curl one into the back of the net. And I would imagine that Alves will say to Rodrigo, this one's going to be mine now.
Expect somebody else to take on the role of the set piece. It looks like Dani Alves is now towards the ball, a little bit closer than Rodrigo. It looks like he's the man in the front seat to try and make something work here for Tite's Brazilian side. Rodrigo taking a little bit of a step back, potentially allow a teammate to take it. You could even suggest Alex Tellez with the left foot there. It's probably not the most favourable angle. If you get it right though, he could definitely pick out that top corner. We know he's very good from set pieces, Tellez, and it looks like he set back, wanted to take it. Rodrigo now does walk away from the set piece, so it will definitely be between Alves and Tellez, the 2 Brazilian fullbacks. One of them is going to take it is the question on everybody's lips though. It is going to be Dani Alves. He lifts it over the wall, but he just can't get the dip on it quite enough. It goes over the crossbar, doesn't really test it, passing in goal. So Dani Alves, not really much better.
No, it's not a really good attempt at the free kick. It's more floated towards goal rather than struck with any real purpose or power. I think if it had dipped in time, Passi was going to get there and save it quite comfortably. So not the best attempt from Dani Alves.
34 minutes on the clock. Still, Cameroon have held Brazil to a draw. Looks like we saw from Brazil last time out. It's almost a carbon copy of their game against Switzerland. An attacking threat, but just can't get the ball over the line. Eventually, frustration might start to set in with this Brazil side. Despite not needing a result, they definitely want to take as much momentum into the knockout stages as they can, as Brian Mbeumo looks to move forward here. He can't get his ball into the box. Eder Militao gets on the end of it. He's being chased back by Vincent Aboubakar, but he just can't quite catch him. He's still moving, Eder Militao. Lays it off towards Anthony, who's going to take on his opposite number here, as he's still trying to do a little bit of trademark Anthony trickery there, but he can't quite beat his man. A good challenge came in there from Tolo, and Anthony just struggling to get past the front man.
I mean, if you were a defender playing up against him, you'd just be tempted to try and wipe him out, to be honest, and almost take the booking. I mean, he's so good at that kind of close control. I mean, it's no wonder why he's got such a bright future with Brazil and Manchester United, and it looks like it's all turned around between Serbia and Switzerland.
Is exactly what has happened, and it's a massive switch up for this group and for the World Cup in general, as Serbia have taken an advantage and a lead against Switzerland. Dusan Vlahovic, the Juventus man, has struck the Serbians into an advantage despite them going 1-0 down early on. Vlahovic has now got them straight into the firing line, and well, as it stands, Serbia will be progressing from this group now, so everything is getting turned on its head. It's all drama on this final day of group stage fixtures, and at this point it's anybody's game.
Yeah, and I think at this stage Cameroon, if they win, they can go through, but it is going to go down to goal difference up against Serbia. I mean, it's a complex group, this one.
It is a very complex group, as the ball goes in the box from Gabriel Martinelli. He's picked up by Choupo-Moting just outside the penalty area, and he's going to drive forward with it, but he's just run out of space, and that's their problem, Cameroon, when they're moving forward. No options. Vincent Aboubakar was the only man forward, but 3 or 4 Brazilian shirts ready to swoop up any danger. So If they want anything from this game, Cameroon, which they're going to need to get, they've got to throw bodies forward.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Abubakar, he's looked completely isolated up top in this game. We've not seen enough yet of Brian Mbeumo. They need to try and get him on the ball more, because he's good at coming inside and getting the ball on his left foot. We're just getting a replay, by the way, of the Serbia goal. It's very soft as far as Switzerland are concerned, but it's a very good finish, left-footed first time from Dusan Vlahovic. I mean, Cameroon have got to show a little bit more in attack. Maybe they could even go a little bit more direct and try and challenge Eder Militao and Bremer with their aerial ability.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll be aware. They'll have whispers in their ear of the result in the other game, Cameroon, so they'll know that they do need to go forward and get a result, as the referee plays advantage, as Gabriel Martinelli's challenged there. Anthony with a shot. It's a tame effort though. Ipassi did well to hold on to it. He was really going to be beaten from there. As we see Martinelli brought to ground, his left boot came flying off as well. He was definitely challenged and fouled there. Referee allowed the advantage to play on, but they couldn't make anything work there, Brazil. Anthony with a tame effort.
Yeah, Anthony was looking to use the defender in front of him. It was Tolo trying to curl the ball around him and make sure that Davis Ipassi was unsighted, but he did well, the goalkeeper. It's not the most threatening of efforts, but Brazil continue to look the better of the two teams.
We do, as we just have a brief stoppage in the game now for a foul, for an injury, sorry. For the Cameroon side, it's Faye who's gone down, the Cameroon right back. He's receiving a bit of treatment and he's wincing in pain. He's in a great deal of pain there. It's after that tangle with Gabriel Martinelli. He's gone down, just waiting to see injury was for, whether it's going to be too serious. As one of the players have quickly gathered by the technical area in their respective dugouts. As Faye is just having a bit of deep heat spray applied to the right kneecap. Maybe just got caught up in a bit of a tangle there with Martinelli. Interesting to see whether we can continue.
Yeah, it'll be a blow for Cameroon to lose him from this game, having to use one of his substitutions. I mean, the only saving grace really with the fact that Collins Faye has got a booking in this game, so we can bring a fresh player on to play out wide there. But the squad is fairly depleted in terms of the 26 players that came to the tournament. They've only got 11 subs named on the bench, and there's 15 available to all others for a full squad. So yeah, Cameroon don't really want to have any more injury problems. It looks like Edison's getting his studs tightened up as well, which is something you see too often.
It's interesting to see that, as Edison may be feeling the effects of the ground and not the right grip, as we see the infamous Samuel Eto'o watching on, president of the Cameroon Footballing Association, watching on and hoping for his country to grab a goal, as currently 1 minute they did look like they were in the driver's seat, but now it's at the bottom of Group G, so things are definitely going to have to take a turn if they want to progress through this group, and going to need to do it on goal difference against Serbia, currently on the same goal difference, so one goal would be enough. They would progress through. Need to find that goal, and right now it doesn't look likely, as Brazil having a lot of the ball and everything is going through them, as they do get the ball in the final third like they've done just then. Choupo-Moting can't direct it to a teammate. Edison pretty comfortable with the catch. Brazil back in steady possession with Fred towards Militao. Ticked over the 40th minute, around about 5 minutes of normal time left in this first half. Listen to unofficial off-tube studio commentary. Bremer in between himself and his defensive counterpart in Eder Militao, and Brazil look comfortable here with the ball at their feet. They're in no rush to throw the ball forward, as they're the only team in this group aren't really fighting for anything. I've already mentioned though they'd like to get a result to just add that bit of confidence going into the knockout stages. Here is Abubakar. He's finally on the ball for the first time in what seems like the whole of this first half. He's still moving forward here, plays a nice ball over the top, looking for Brian Mbeumo. A good header though from Bremer, the Juventus centre-back, was covering well, and Mbeumo was making inroads in behind, but he was there to sweep up the danger.
Yeah, really good defending that from Bremer. Knew exactly what he needed to do. He got the weight of the header back to Edison Wright, because it's easy to get that wrong when you are running back on the scamper. Need Cameroon to do a little bit more of that, just put the Brazil defence under pressure, because it's just been too easy for them so far.
No surprise that when they do get Vincent Abubakar on the ball, they look a lot better. Need to make sure that he is more involved in this game if they want to get anything from it, Cameroon. And Brazil back in steady possession with Bremer, plays a 1-2 with Fred to turn and face and settle things down now, as we see a stat flash up on our screen. Attempts on goal, 8 for Brazil, 0 for Cameroon. 2 of Brazil's 8 attempts have been on target, however, so need to improve that stat, maybe be a bit more clinical to break the scoring here, as Fabinho looks to turn and face towards the right-hand side. Dani Alves back into Eder Militao. He's happy to hold on to possession on the halfway line with Bremer. Nice ball there from Rodrigo, trying to slip it through to Fred, but that's a bit of a silly foul there from Dani Alves, just bringing one of the Cameroon midfielders to ground. Really needless there to break up play. It was Ngamalu who was brought to ground, and that just puts another stop to a Brazil attack.
Yeah, it's not been a great watch really, this game so far. 3 minutes to go until half-time, and neither team has looked particularly great going forward. I mean, I know that Brazil have had most of the ball, they've had the chances, but like you mentioned, 2 attempts on target in 8 is not a great return, and I'm not seeing Davis Apasi have to make any really good saves yet, apart from that Gabriel Martinelli header, which, you know, some cynics might say it's a save he should have made in the first place. So I think if both sides were offered half-time now, they'd probably take it.
Yeah, Rodrigo doing some really nice work moving forward here, trying to slip it through to Anthony. The ball in behind was a bit of a heavy one, just overplayed it slightly. Anthony, he's quick, but he's not that quick. He struggled to get on the end of that one, and it all started off with a bit of trademark Edison ball playing with the ball at his feet. Came out and quickly swifted the ball away from Choupo-Moting, and it's almost like an extra defender on the field when Edison comes out of his area. He's so assured with his feet, it just adds a little bit more stability to that Brazil back line. Yeah,
he's such a magnificent goalkeeper, Edison, and you know, you wouldn't be surprised if he ended up, or if one time if he donned an outfield player's jersey, he wouldn't look out of place really in defence or midfield. He's that comfortable in possession, particularly with those long-range spreaded balls that he can get 70 yards, so accurate with it. He's a completely unique goalkeeper.
Yeah, so just struggling to keep the ball in on this near side. Brazil will get the throw in. See, potentially going for a change. I'm not sure that will come just yet. They probably would wait till half-time if they were going to make a substitution, but it seems like we've been starved of the goals this evening, as everything is going through Serbia and Switzerland, and there could be a 4th goal on the cards, and there has been, and it's been an equaliser. Switzerland have fought back after going 1-0 up. It's currently sitting at 2-2 in that game, the other game in Group G, and well, they're getting all the action as Brio Donald and Bolo fires for the Swiss. And as it stands, it switched things up once again, and now Switzerland will go through in 2nd place if things were to end here. So we're going to struggle to keep up with all the ins and outs of this group as things are changing by the minute, but for now, Switzerland go through.
Yeah, it looks like it's an incredible game going on at the 974 Stadium. We've been starved of any sort of goal-mouth action. We're about to tick over the 45-minute mark, and well, this is almost a fun game in itself, guessing how much added time the officials are going to put on the board.
With the injury to Fry, I'm sure we'll have a fair amount. It's going to be 4 minutes of additional time. I maybe expected a little bit more with all the stoppages we've had for the fouls, yellow cards and injuries, but a reasonable 4 is all we're going to see in this first half, as Alex Tejas tries to play the ball down the line. It's been intercepted there by Wu, but I think it ricocheted off the hand of the central defender. Gure Song, very animated in his technical area. He's up on his feet, constantly barking orders at his national side, as Militao now goes back in towards Bremer, and we're just getting confirmation on our screens that it would be Switzerland to progress. They sit on 4 points, Cameroon and Serbia both on 2, and goes forward looking for the running behind. Alex Tejas is in an advanced area here. He's still moving forward with it here. Alex Tejas goes for goal, just tipped over the crossbar by Apasi. It was a really nice run. It was actually Gabriel Martinelli who eventually got the ball on the edge of the box. Took it past a couple of players, and he's looked really dangerous every time he's got on the ball, Martinelli. You just think that Brazil need to get the ball to him time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about Anthony in the early stages, but I actually think Martinelli has had a slightly better game than Anthony. He's been more direct. He's run at Cameroon whenever he's had the opportunity, and as he likes to chop in on that right foot, the Cameroon players showed him onto his stronger foot. They almost encouraged him to have the strike, and it's a good stop from Ipasi to tip it over the bar.
Anthony with a chance from the set piece here. He goes short in towards Rodrigo, who has the shot on goal, and it just shaves the outside netting of the goal. It looked like for a second that had flown into the top corner. A nicely worked set piece move, which is a bit of a rarity from Brazil in this game so far. It's the first one that's really had any sort of conviction on it. Really nice ball towards the near post. The Cameroon defenders just caught napping. Rodrigo almost finds the inside of the post. Yeah,
very nicely worked set piece, and when the net does ripple like that, you assume almost that it's gone into the back of the net. Just couldn't quite get the requisite curl to direct it back towards the target. I think Cameroon may have had it covered anyway because they did have men on the post, but Brazil having a late flurry towards the end of this first half.
Yeah, Anguissa with a really nice chop away from Fred to progress forward for Cameroon. He helps it towards Choupo-Moting, and now he's helped on further to Ngamalu, who's trying to take on Dani Alves. Gets a ball in towards the back post, and Brian Mbeumo with a massive chance for Cameroon to open the scoring. He has the shot from the far post, a fantastic save from Ederson to deny him, but there's still time for late drama in this first half. Ngamalu takes it past a couple of players. He's brought down in the penalty area. Referee waves him up. There's no real claim there from the Cameroon players, so he will play on. Brazil look to progress forward, but it's a big clearance coming in from Ibos from the back, but some late drama here. Cameroon definitely with a good chance to open the scoring.
By a mile, the best chance of the game. It's a fantastic stop from Ederson. Nicely floated delivery into the box, and Mbeumo does almost everything right. He heads it down onto the ground. If anything, as the ball bounces up, maybe it makes the save slightly more straightforward for Ederson, but he was coming across to his left. He had to quickly then get back to his right, and he palms it away. Really, really good stop from Ederson.
Some world-class reactions from the Manchester City #1 to deny Mbeumo and Cameroon of any hope of going through Group G, as it is half-time in the other game in Group G. Switzerland, Serbia go into the break with all the points shared so far. 4 goals in this opening half as it's all done for that game for this first half, but we've still got a couple of seconds left in our game as Brazil look to move forward. Can any side break the deadlock and open the scoring in this first half? He had a fantastic end, a much better end than it did a start in our game, as Dani Alves plays a 1-2 there with Eder Militao. And the referee has called a stop to the game in this first half. A massive chance for Brian Mbeumo to open the scoring and give Cameroon a chance and a bit of hope to progress through Group G. As it stands, though, they won't be going through. We're going into the break. Brazil 0, Cameroon 0.
Half-time, it's Cameroon 0, Brazil 0. Not too much to write home about from the first half. Brazil have been the better of the two sides, though. Their best chance came on 13 minutes. Fred with a diagonal ball across the box. It came to Martinelli at the back post. His header very well stopped by Ipasi. Cameroon's best chance came on the stroke of half-time. Again, a header as the ball was drifted in by Ngalamu. It was Mbeumo who headed it downwards, and he forced a world-class stop from Ederson. It's 0-0 at the break. Half-time, it's Cameroon 0, Brazil 0. Not too much to write home about from the first half. Brazil have been the better of the two sides, though. Their best chance came on 13 minutes. Fred with a diagonal ball across the box. It came to Martinelli at the back post. His header very well stopped by Ipasi. Cameroon's best chance came on the stroke of half-time. Again, a header.
half-time. It's Cameroon 0, Brazil 0. Not too much to write home about from the first half. Brazil have been the better of the two sides, though. Their best chance came on 13 minutes. Fred with a diagonal ball.
Well, we're back at the Lusail Stadium for the second half of this World Cup group clash between Cameroon and Brazil. Not too much to write home about from the first half. The scoreline is goalless. Brazil were undoubtedly the better of the two sides without being outstanding. Cameroon's best chance came just moments before the whistle went for the first half. They had a bit of a late flurry, but unfortunately couldn't get the ball past Edison. So now they've got 45 minutes to try and salvage their place in the 2022 FIFA World Cup. And as it stands, if they can't get that winning goal, they will be going through, because Switzerland are not beating Serbia. That game elsewhere in Group G is 2 apiece, so a real thriller in that first half. Less so here. Brazil, as we mentioned at the start of the game, they've already qualified. They've made several changes to their side for this game. Not looking quite as cohesive as they have done in previous games, but there's still the ability out there to potentially get the winning goal. Brazil are going from left to right in this second half in their changed blue strip with white shorts. Cameroon in their traditional green shirts, red shorts and yellow socks. Coming down the far side now, already looking to get forward in this early stage, and Buemo's attempted a cross is played behind by Bremer. Really good channel ball, and Cameroon at the start of this second half have already got a chance from a set piece.
Yeah, they have. They've started bright, haven't they, in this second half? They didn't realise it's now or never, isn't it? They need to throw their bodies forward. They need their goal. They'll have seen the results at half-time in the other game, and they'll need to know now that they can't rely on other results. They need to take it into their own hands and get their goal to try and progress with this group. And they've started well, and Buemo looking lively down the right-hand side, and see if they can threaten from this corner.
Yeah, it is Buemo that's provided Cameroon's best moment in this game so far, and he'll be hoping to provide another one from this corner kick. It's actually been left. It's not going to be him who takes it. It's swung towards Anguissa in the box, then over to the far side. The play has stopped because Tellez has gone down in a bit of a heap as he climbed up to try and make that aerial challenge from the set-piece delivery, and the referee can't take any chances when it comes to injuries from head injuries, I should say. Just backed into by Anguissa, and then he falls a little bit awkwardly onto his shoulder. I don't think there's going to be anything too debilitating as far as Tellez is concerned, although he is writhing down in a bit of pain, and there's quite a few Brazil and Cameroon players stood over him. He's got his head in his hands. It was probably a painful landing onto the deck for Alex Tellez, but I must admit I'm a little bit surprised at how much this seemingly has poleaxed him. He's got bits of grass all over his face as well. He must have landed face first. On the bench for Brazil, there is the left back. Well, actually, no, there isn't the left back option because Alexandro is currently out injured. So Tellez is a player that we certainly don't want to lose from their squad. We mentioned about Serbia and Switzerland being the game to look out for. Well, only taken 3 minutes of the second half for a fifth goal to emerge, and it's Switzerland who are back in front. A real topsy-turvy game there, and it's the Nottingham Forest midfielder Remo Freuler who's got the goal. So that game is available on this service, and if you do want to switch over, I don't entirely blame you. 5 goals there. Still awaiting our first one here. So we've swung back. It's back to Switzerland, who are going to be going through as the second place team in this group, as Cameroon work things down the far side, and it's the worst possible goal for Cameroon because they need Switzerland to avoid the victory. So that once again should spur Cameroon to go forward and try and play their part.
Yeah, but they're once again now back in that situation where even with a result, it's not going to work in their favour. They need Serbia to come back with a goal of their own to try and level things up for them. And like I've already said today, it's the worst feeling when you know the game's out of your hands. There's nothing they can do. They can play as well as they want now. They can score, well, 5 or 10 goals for anyone's concerned. And it's still not going to be enough no matter what they do now. They need Serbia to go and get a result for them. So if they do catch wind of what's going on in the other game, it will, I think, drop heads, and they'll realise that it all may just be up. But at the same time, they could have that professionalism about them, that spirited performance to think if we can go and get a result now, things could sway in our favour, and at least we've done the best we can.
Here come Cameroon now down the near side with Ngamalu. It's then going to be sent into the area up towards Maxime Choupo-Moting. It comes back out now to Mbuemo. Now here is Abu Bakar who shoots, just goes across goal. Edison didn't get there. It's inches away from finding the back of the net. Really nicely worked move down that side. Abu Bakar had to shoot on the turn, and from the reverse angle it looks even more agonising if you are of a Cameroonian persuasion, because you can just see the ball spinning and angling away from the target.
Yeah, it's a really good effort from Abu Bakar. I mean, he's always going to drag that wide, isn't he? The way he hits it on the right foot, it's always bending away from goal, but it's agonisingly close. We see the Cameroon fans in the crowd, and they're wincing, looking at the chance, and they think it could be their opportunity to finally take the lead in this game, as Alex Telles is once again down on the ground, and Marquinhos looks like he's set to come on, so it will be a change, and Alex Telles has run his race. Like I've said, it's always going to go through Vincent Aboubakar up front. He's the man that's looked the most dangerous for Cameroon tonight. I mean, they need to get the ball to him more often. Saw that fantastic goal from him last time out. He chipped the ball over the Serbia goalkeeper, a real unorthodox finish, but just shows that he's capable of scoring all types of goals. I mean, he was the top scorer in the AFCON just gone this year, and it's no surprise really. You look at him every time the ball gets to him, and he looks like he's creating some magic.
Yeah, he's the most experienced member of this Cameroonian squad. He's playing for the 94th time this evening. He's scored 34 goals as well, so it's a very respectable goal-scoring total. And I'm not sure what this injury is actually for Alex Telles. He does land quite heavily. He takes a bit of a blow to the side of his body. I don't know if there's maybe something involving his ribs, but he's up on his feet now. He's walking around the perimeter of the field, so Alex Telles will be coming off, and Marquinhos will replace him, though I don't think Marquinhos has come on the field just yet, so temporarily Brazil are going to be down to 10 men, and Telles looks absolutely distraught at the injury, which may or may not rule him out of the remainder of the tournament. Long ball played forward by Brazil. Rodrigo now trying to get it to Gabriel Jesus, who slides in. Rodrigo is there as well. Cameroon defenders all over the place, and in the end Davis Apasi, the goalkeeper, comes and rescues the ball, and that was far from convincing from the Cameroonian defenders there.
No, it really wasn't, was it? It was very scrappy. It didn't really look like they were ever going to get the ball away. It was just bobbling around that penalty area. The goalkeeper, Apasi, didn't really take control of his area. The Cameroon defenders didn't want to hook it clear. Gabriel Jesus was trying and waiting for the ball to just sit up for him nicely. It was just always bouncing. It was a really scrappy move, but could have easily found its way in the back of the net. The Cameroon will thank their lucky star that it didn't.
Cameroon pick up the ball in midfield now. One or two hints maybe that the game is starting to get a bit stretched. Here is Ngamalu, back to Abu Bakar, and now with Anguissa on this near side for Tolo, who puts the cross in first time, and the touch actually comes from Ngamalu with the head. I don't think it was intended for him. Well collected by Ebos, and here is Pierre Koundé, one of 4 players from that first half who was shown yellow cards. Ball played over the top. It's really well controlled in the area as Cameroon try and find space for the cross. They couldn't manage it on that occasion. Back now with Koundé, and he goes for the spectacular, and he sends that one flying well wide of the target. And it's no wonder that he holds his hand up to apologise, because if you were one of his teammates there, you'd be absolutely livid with why he shot from that kind of range.
Yeah, you would. I mean, it's really silly to relinquish possession there. They had a couple of numbers in the area. Choupo-Moting's no small player, as we see a triple substitution now coming from Brazil. Alex Telles, Fred and Rodrigo all set to be replaced. Ribeiro is going to come on to make his first appearance for this Brazil side, as well as Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle. So we're just waiting for the final change. It is the Marquinhos change that we saw quite a while ago, so they're finally getting that extra man back on the field, and Brazil now looking to maybe just shore up the game and just make sure that they don't relinquish the point.
Yeah, and it also tells me as well that Tite's not necessarily bothered about going hell for leather for the win. He's just trying to get minutes into players who haven't been able to play so far. Bruno Guimaraes came off the bench against Switzerland. I don't think Everton Ribeiro has made an appearance in this tournament, so just trying to get some minutes in his legs. Rodrigo, Fred and the injured Alex Tellez have been withdrawn. So that's a hat-trick of substitutions made by Tite as Edison chips the ball across now, and it looks like Marquinhos is slotting straight in at left back. He's given the ball away. It's Anguissa now who tries to get it across. Well, Marquinhos is right-footed. He's played a little bit right back before, but predominantly he is a centre-back, so this might be a position where he looks fairly uncomfortable. Brazil, though, attacking now down the far side. It's with Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli has got options in the box. Martinelli's going to go for the curler. Great stop from Davis Apasi. We're getting more and more chances in this second half. Wonderful piece of play that by Brazil. Swift attacking down the left-hand side. Martinelli onto his right foot. It's a really good stop from the keeper.
Yeah, it is. He's the most dangerous player on the field for Brazil, isn't he? Every time he gets the ball, he looks like scoring, and just such a positive player, isn't he? He always wants to take on his man. Not so much got the trickery of Anthony, but when you're that direct, it's an absolute nightmare for a defender to deal with. He's taking on his man a couple of times and getting the better of them every single time, and every time he shoots, it's forcing a really good save out of the goalkeeper.
Anthony with the corner on this near side, headed away at the near post. It's come out now to Everton Ribeiro, swings the ball back into the area. It comes now for Militao. It's dropped by the keeper, is it? And then he parries it wide. Well, Militao shot left-footed. I don't think he was expecting the ball to come to him. Might have actually been, was it Bremer who had the strike? We'll have a look at the replay. No, it was definitely Militao, and then Bremer went in on the follow-up, and keeper Apasi nearly made a mess of that, and he had no choice but to then parry it round the post for another corner. It was actually a poor piece of goalkeeping followed by a really good stop.
Yeah, it was. It was a good effort from Eder Militao, and there was a lot of players in the way, so the goalkeeper didn't see it all the way in. Abassi was forced into, like you said, just pushing it wide of the post, because Bremer was definitely making inroads on him, but it looks like Cameroon want to make a counter-attack out of this.
Yeah, oh, it's a poor ball forward though by Choupo-Moting, and Dani Alves, the furthest man back, is there to win the ball, and then he's upended by Frank Anguissa. Brazil want to take the free kick quickly. They've been allowed to do that. Here is Everton Ribeiro, swings it to this near side for Anthony. He goes for another curler, palm behind by Apasi. I think he probably could have caught that then. It wasn't the most firmly struck effort, and he's lost his bearings really, because that was going well wide from Anthony.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the goalkeeper there just needs to have a little bit more control around his area and command, and a bit of spatial awareness to know that that's always travelling wide. Wasn't really threatening the goal. If it was maybe going on the near post or something, then fair enough. You don't want to take chances, do you, and look like look stupid really letting the ball in at your far post, but really could have let that one go.
Corner sent in towards the back post. It's Bremer who meets it, headed clear, and then the free kick is going to go Cameroon's way. I don't know if there was a foul in there or if the ball might have just drifted out. Yeah, the referee lip reading him. He's saying it was a foul on that's down on the deck. A foul on the Cameroonian goalkeeper Apasi. We'll have a look at the replays. The ball comes in at the back post. Bremer nearly gets there with his head. Keeper's sent down. I'm not too sure where the foul is. Oh, there is a light hand from Bremer on Apasi. I'm not sure there's enough in that to warrant a free kick being given, but 13 minutes into this second half, and we've already had more action than we had in the whole of the first half, really.
Yeah, it's really starting to open up now, both sides wanting to go for that goal and just see the game off, but seeing the substitute goalkeeper warming up here, but Apasi's back to his feet. I think it might have even been stopped just for the head injury, not so much the foul. I don't think it was a foul on the goalkeeper. It was a 50-50 in the air. It was there to be won for Bremer. Got up, didn't manage to beat the goalkeeper there, but it's just the way Apasi comes down and his head rattles off the post. It looked like a nasty one, but he is back to his feet, so I think he'll be okay to continue.
Yeah, I think he will be absolutely fine, but Brazil have had a slew of chances at the start of this second half. He is fine to carry on because he's cleared the ball long down the field. Alves now guilty of fouling Mumi Ngamalu. He's claiming to the referee that that's his first challenge of the game, and I think the referee's going to be lenient and not book him. 39-year-old played an hour's worth of football now. I wonder if there might be a temptation to bring him off and keep him fresh, because he might be needed in the latter stages. Cameroon now with a free kick right towards the near touch line. It's near the halfway line, so it's one that they're going to have to send in from deep. A diagonal ball is likely to go forward, maybe towards the back post. It's going to be taken by Pierre Koundé towards the edge of the area. It's a good climb from Christopher Wu, it was, who got forward. There was no one there to get on the end of the second ball, and in the end Brazil get themselves a free kick on Gisa, giving the foul away, hauling Jesus down to the floor and just climbing all over the back of the Arsenal man. Really good leap though by Christopher Wu. It's just a shame that there was no one there to anticipate it. It's quite a spectacular clearance really from Dani Alves to get the ball away from the danger zone. We have just passed the hour mark. Independent off-tube studio commentary, 0-0 between Cameroon and Brazil. It's 3-2 to Switzerland against Serbia. So as it stands, Brazil go through as group winners, and they might get a winner here as they come forward now. It's with Anthony. Nice Maradona turn, around about 25 yards out. He's so hard to get off the ball. It comes to Alves now. Alves swings it in early. It's not the best delivery from Dani Alves. Cleared by Cameroon and headed downwards by Marquinhos. Links up now with Fabinho, and here is the Newcastle midfielder Guimaraes. Guimaraes plays it to the edge of the area now for Everton Ribeiro. He's then dispossessed and he goes down, but there's no foul in there, and Cameroon all of a sudden wanting to counter-attack. Such a different game this to what we saw in the first half. So much more pace to it. But Cameroon stopped in their tracks as they want to try and make a counter-attack. It's played across defence now by Ebosse over to Christopher Wu, and Passy, the goalkeeper, gets it back. We've not seen this often in the game where Cameroon can have a sustained period of possession. I don't think we're going to see it too much more either, because they need to get the ball forward quickly and take a few more risks. That wasn't a great long ball from the keeper. Ederson now bowls it out towards Eder Militao, who's looking for options ahead of him. Rigobert Song is patrolling the touchline. It looks as though they're getting ready to make another substitution, Cameroon. It's Carl Toko Ekambi, the Lyon man, who's about to come on. So they've got some decent depth in their attacking line. It's possibly going to be a like-for-like, unless Song wants to be really, really ambitious at this stage. With Anthony now on the near side, running at Tolo. Feeds it infield now for Dani Alves, for Bruno Guimaraes, looking to link up with Jesus. Jesus then pulls it back for Marquinhos. Now over on the far side with Martinelli. Martinelli drives it in. Not a great clearance, but then an overhead kick clearance gets it out for Cameroon, and then they win a free kick. And both teams beginning to live just that little bit more dangerously, it seems.
Yeah, they are. I was just going to make a note of who's at the back now. If Alex Telles is out for a sustained period, as we do see Toko Ekambi come on to replace Brian Mbeumo, the Brentford man, will leave the field, and the Lyon man takes his place. I'm sure that'll be pretty like for like on the right hand side. But going back to Brazil's defensive frailties now. If Telles is out, they've got Danilo as well. Dani Alves, he's played very well today, but 39 years old, he can't really have too many minutes on the clock, can he? So Eder Militao slots into that right back role, going into the knockout stages. They're going to need Thiago Silva and Marquinhos fully fit. Only takes us one more injury, and that back line for Brazil is looking quite shaky.
Another change as well for Brazil, and yet another new player who hasn't featured in this World Cup coming on. It's Pedro, who's coming on to replace Gabriel Jesus. Like-for-like change up front. He's one of the few players in the Brazil squad who actually plies his trade in his homeland. Just a third cap for Pedro, currently of Flamengo, as is his teammate Everton Ribeiro, who's just come onto the field of play. So Brazil freshening things up even more with players who've not had any minutes in their legs. Anthony now with a nice ball for Dani Alves. Alves sends it upfield quickly towards Pedro, trying to get him involved straight away in this game, but was a little bit too firmly passed by Dani Alves. But Anthony and Alves beginning to link up really nicely on this right-hand side. The ball has dropped for Anguissa in midfield now, but his pass is a little bit wayward, up towards Pedro now, and that's a good first touch. Here is Martinelli. Martinelli feeds it forward quickly, looking for Marquinhos, who does look a little bit like a fish out of water coming forward from left back. The fact that he's usually a centre back, but still willing to make those runs forward from left back.
Yeah, he is, and him and Martinelli enjoy a little laugh between each other. I think they realise how ridiculous it may look, Marquinhos bombing into the area as the last man making that overlapping run. But it was a really nice run from him. He started the play off and just around about the halfway line, got onto the end of a loose ball, trying to break forward as best he can, and Martinelli's done him no favours there as he's played a very heavy ball into him. He's never going to get there, but a bit of a more delicate pass, and Marquinhos was definitely goal bound, and he's broken that line in behind the defence, so there's no reason why he couldn't have finished the move off.
Here is Anthony moving down the right-hand side. Can't link up with Everton Ribeiro. He's challenged, but Brazil will get the throw-in. 65 minutes gone. It's Cameroon 0, Brazil 0. It's still Serbia 2, Switzerland 3 in the other Group G game. So Brazil, as it stands, will be going to face South Korea on Tuesday. Switzerland, meanwhile, will face Portugal, and it will be a tough test for Portugal, considering that they didn't exactly come through their group with flying colours, and they didn't come through their qualification group either. So Cameroon get the game back underway now with goalkeeper Passy, and now here is Boss. Passy wide now for Christopher Wu. Those fresh legs that Brazil have got up top, just closing Cameroon down, making things a little bit difficult for them. Nicely controlled though in midfield by Gamalu. He's coming down the right-hand side, looking to link up with Choupo-Moting. It's then given away though, and Brazil, quick as a flash, their chance to come forward. The strike, is it going to come in from Everton Ribeiro? No, it's a really good challenge in the area by Enzo Ibos. He had to get that one absolutely spot on, and now straight down the other end. First opportunity, no, it's Ngamalu who's got the ball on the far side. Back to Choupo-Moting, edge of the area, looking to try and find the ball to Vincent Aboubakar, but Brazil win the ball back once again, and it's just been end-to-end in this second half. The referee has paused the game because Brazil have got a bit of an injury concern further forward. It's Everton Ribeiro who may have been caught slightly when that challenge came in to win the ball back. It's a firm but a very, very fair challenge. Sliding in was Ibos. It's a wonderful tackle. It's just unfortunately one of those where you are sometimes going to get hurt. Another change coming now for Cameroon. Pierre Koundé is coming off, and Olivier Ncham will be familiar to fans of Celtic and currently of Swansea City as he makes his way onto the field. Well, we are 3/4 of the way through this contest. It still remains Cameroon 0, Brazil 0. I can feel a goal coming in this game though. It's been much more open in the second half. It'll be Harry to bring you through to full time.
Just coming on, and Ribeiro just about back to his feet as the impact of his face ricocheting off the ground, which is what caused him the bit of discomfort initially, but he is back on his feet and he will continue. And Brazil back in possession with Marquinhos, and Fabinho now looks to bring it forward. As from an injury standpoint, we'd definitely like to see a goal. That could have easily been 1 or 2 by now, not just in the second half, but the first half had opportunities to get forward there as Aboubakar brought to ground by Dani Alves, the two captains colliding as Cameroon looked to play it quickly, but it's been slowed down here by Zambo Anguissa, the Napoli midfielder who's having a stellar season over in Italy, as they flying through Serie A as well as the Champions League after a stellar group stage against the likes of Liverpool and Rangers, scoring a flurry of goals, but his focus is completely on Cameroon right now as they look to maybe claw something out of Group G, but for now it's not looking too favourable for the African side. As things do end here, Switzerland will progress and they need Serbia to get a result. As well as that, they're going to need a goal themselves.
Yeah, it's multiple caveats for Cameroon to be able to get through, and it's looking unlikely for them at this stage. Brazil are appearing a little bit more fresher in this second half. I mean, that's largely down to the fact that they've made plenty of substitutions. Tite looking to utilise his squad as much as he possibly can. Cameroon have got a few fresh faces on the field as well, but we are seeing the game stretched a bit more and I think that's going to suit Brazil much more than it is Cameroon.
We've seen Brazil slightly struggle against Switzerland, who were pretty defensive in the way they set up. They wanted to keep goals to a minimum, and it worked for the most part as Brazil struggled to get the ball over the line. Cameroon now needing to go forward, like you said, that will play into Tite's side's hands as opening up a bit will create them spaces in behind for the attacking players, and here they come forward now with Anthony. He's got Ribeiro in support, but he's going to go himself here. He can't beat the first man. It's good defending there at the back from Tolo. And he got the yellow card early on. We all thought he looked a little bit shaky and maybe out of his depth, but since then he's only gone and got better, and Toko Akambi looks to settle the game down now. He looked like they wanted to go on a counter-attack. He's waited for support, which may be a smarter option. He plays a 1-2 with Anguissa, tries to flick the ball past Dani Alves and go the other way. It's not going to work this time though, as ball in towards the striker Pedro. He's been brought to ground. The referee will give a free kick in favour of Brazil, and they get the game back underway quickly with Ribeiro. He's got Pedro ahead of him. It is now with Pedro. Can he get the ball out of his feet? He can't. You just wonder whether maybe he needed to bite the bullet there and go for goal. He didn't manage to do so, and now they still come forward. Anthony, support overlapping, goes back towards Anthony. Now Pedro tries to get it back towards Anthony. Nice give and go play there from Brazil, moving the ball quickly. Bruno Guimaraes actually who gets the ball away on this right-hand side towards Anthony, but he couldn't make anything stick there. And Brazil are looking a little bit more comfortable. It's just not working.
No, I mean, the ball that was reversed back towards Anthony, I don't know if maybe he thought Everton Ribeiro was going to get to it, so that's why he didn't make the run. I mean, Everton was quite a long way offside, so Anthony needed to make that run. It is nice give-and-go football, though, really technical stuff from Brazil down this right-hand side, and Cameroon couldn't get close to them, so they need to try and produce more of the same.
Here's the Manchester United winger. Anthony gives it towards Everton Ribeiro. He's got Pedro ahead of him, and 1-2 between the pair. Martinelli's waiting for it. He's eagerly waiting. He always wanting that ball there. You can see the way he was holding his run, but it just wasn't finding its way to the Arsenal star man. But Marquinhos with a nice bit of battling towards the byline, and now they're in a favourable position here. Brazil, and the shot comes in there from Bruno Guimaraes, but he just couldn't get the ball out of his feet quick enough. He was under pressure from a Cameroon man and just snatches at the effort, fires over the crossbar.
Yeah, it's wonderful play that from Marquinhos, and one of the positives at least of having someone like him playing in the left back role. When he is high up the field, he can win the ball and win it cleanly as well. Play back to Bruno Guimaraes, and I think he was just rushed into having that strike, and that's why he was off balance. He was leaning back, and when you strike a ball like that, it's always going to go a long way over the bar. So good defending from Cameroon to get out to Guimaraes quickly and make the challenge.
Forward Cameroon, but every time they do get it in an advanced area, they can't hold on to the ball, and becoming increasingly frustrating for the African side. And Martinelli tries to hold the ball in play over on the far side. He's pushed high to the ground, and I'm sure that'll be a pretty definite free kick for Cameroon. Martinelli just with a thumb up, appreciating the ball went in his direction. He just about managed to keep it in play, but Ryan was always there, hot on his heels. Cameron's pan to Neymar, how they'd like him to be fit moving into the knockout stage, as they want him to be raring and ready to go. Crucial part of this Brazil side. He's been very unlucky in past World Cups where he struggled to feature due to injury. I just feel bad that in a tournament where they're going into it as favourites and the side they have, and it might finally be his time just to get injured once again. And it's been increasingly frustrating for Neymar to not get a solid run in the side in a major tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, even though Brazil's squad, as we've referred to it throughout, it has got loads of talent in it, Neymar is still undoubtedly the real poster boy of Brazilian football, and he's had that tag for over a decade now. So to carry Brazil's hopes like that, you know, you've got to be a special kind of character, and it is frustrating for Neymar that, as you mentioned, not being able to have a run of games at a major tournament. It's the ankle injury. It's one that he's had before. It's unfortunately a recurring problem where Neymar seems to be concerned, and all that Brazil can do is just hope that he's going to be available for the last 16, because they are going to face better quality opposition the longer this tournament goes on, and they're going to need their match winners in the process.
Handed the baton from Ronaldinho in that Brazil side. now flying the flag, like you said, as the poster boy. Many people feel he's surpassed Ronaldinho's level and could be considered one of the most criminally underrated players of our generation. But Brazil now look to finally break the deadlock, moving forward. Bruno and Anthony trying to link up on this near side, but some astute defending from Cameroon, which we've seen from them throughout this evening, and stopped Brazil in their tracks every time they've been called upon. It's just not sticking for Brazil in the final third. The heavy rotation won't be helping that at all. Their starting lineup out today, Brazil, could have been a much different story, but until this point, Cameroon have defended with such a vigilant and regimented back line, and so astute. Really difficult for the Brazilian side to break down, even with their samba flair that they possess. Got a free kick here though on halfway. Fabinho standing over it, takes it short towards Eder Militao. Just over towards Bremer. Now Marquinhos on the left-hand side. He's got options forward if he wants to progress the ball. He's looking like he's in no rush to do so, and Brazil back into almost first gear here as Militao receives it on halfway. Towards Bremer. The pressure from Vincent Aboubakar. Unlucky this evening, a lack of service to him when he has had the ball. He's looked dangerous. He's just haven't quite stuck. The Cup of Nations top scorer from this season, Fabinho. Towards Bruno Guimaraes, but he's under pressure there from Anguissa. A good bit of harrying from him to dispossess the Brazilians, but for merely seconds there as they get the ball straight back. Now with Bruno Guimaraes, he tries to feed it through the legs of Incham in the midfield, and now they're looking to move forward, Cameroon, but real lack of options for Carl Toko Akambi to aim at, so he's forced into going alone. He's done well to hold the ball up though and pick out Anguissa on halfway. Into Tolo, and a 1-2 between the pair. Now back in towards Incham. Still moving forward with the ball. It's a good run from him. Still moving forward, the Swansea man, as he tries to play it in towards Choupo-Moting, but they can't make things work. It looked dangerous for a split second, but that's the problem with their slow build-up play. They're allowing Brazil to get back, and by the time they got anywhere near the penalty area, there's 4 or 5 Brazilian players hounding the ball out as they move forward now, Brazil, with Vincent Ribeiro dropping towards Bruno Guimaraes. He's moving forward, he's been brought to ground. Referee says no foul. There was a heavy challenge coming in there, but referees waved it off, and Cameroon will look to start an attack, but Brazil once again struggling to make anything tick in the final third. Been pretty one-dimensional. Good skill though from Toko Akambi to beat Dani Alves. Dropped in back towards Manchu, who has a go from range. Getting down quickly was Ederson. It was Cameroon's best chance for the last 20 or so minutes. Manchu, when he has got on the ball, he's looked like he's wanted to progress quickly.
Yeah, I think he's given Cameroon something extra in midfield. He's got that ability to pick the ball up and drive forward with it, and that's not what we saw really from Pierre Koundé, and I don't think that's the kind of game that Franck Anguissa has. So, and Cham has certainly looked lively in his cameo so far. It looks like Brazil are getting ready to make their 5th and final change. Rafinha ready to come on the touchline.
It's a scary sight for Cameroonian defenders who have been defending for their lives for the best part of 80 minutes, to see a fresh Rafinha gearing to come on, and can always cause problems to defenders, let alone a tired back line, as Anthony is the man to be replaced. 2 attempts on target for the Manchester United winger. He's looked fairly bright, struggled in terms of end product, and now a chance for Rafinha to maybe spark a bit of magic for that Brazil front line.
Yeah, absolutely so. I mean, Rafinha has been playing on that right side of the attacking lineup. Anthony has come in. He's done a decent job without being truly outstanding. I still think he's probably going to be more of an impact player off the bench the further this tournament goes on, as Collins 5 whips a ball in from that far side. It's going to be a Cameroonian corner, but Rafinha has a bit more end product for me, so I think he can potentially spark Brazil to go on and get the winning goal here.
I'd like to think so. End of the world if it doesn't come, though, as we've alluded to time and time again. Brazil are through, no matter the outcome in this group. Group G, there's still been no goals since the last time we've updated in the Serbia-Switzerland game, so still to remind you, as it stands, Switzerland go through in 2nd place, Cameroon 3rd and Serbia 4th, as the corner is whipped in towards the penalty area, headed away by Bremer. falls quite comfortably towards Incham. Now towards Vincent Abubakar, who has to go from range. It took a deflection off the Brazilian captain, Dani Alves. Looked to bend it in towards that far corner, just lifted it over Edison, but they will have a chance from the corner.
Yeah, he's trying to use Alves as almost like a guideline to send it towards the far corner, but Alves gets a little bit of a leg in. It's going to be another Cameroonian corner, and with 10 minutes to go, they really need to start pushing more men forward.
The ball towards the penalty area is not a great one, but it's fell pretty comfortably there in the penalty area for Wall. Cleared away Brazil just about. Bruno Guimarães looks to unlock Gabriel Martinelli on this right-hand side. His electric pace, even though we're in the 80th minute, he's still bearing forward, and Vincent Abubakar has brought him to ground. That's going to be a definite yellow card for the Cameroonian captain. He's brought down Martinelli, and that is probably the best tactical foul we'll see of the tournament, as it was definitely going to lead to a very good chance on goal for Gabriel Martinelli, and his teammates almost applauding him for that challenge there, Vincent Abubakar, as he's brought down Martinelli to end what could have definitely been a goal-scoring opportunity.
Yeah, he's a little whippet, is Martinelli. He showed real pace running down that right side, and there's nothing really that Abubakar could do otherwise. He had to try and bring him down, otherwise he was breaking into the box. It's a 21-year-old against a 30-year-old, and the 21-year-old's always going to win.
It's a really good tactical foul by the letter of the law, really is. Shouldn't really be applauding fouls, but in terms of the Cameroon perspective, that challenge wasn't made and Brazil score, can kiss goodbye to their chances of progressing through Group G in what's already a very tall order, as Serbia still haven't managed to get back on equal terms against the Swiss. Got a chance here from the set piece though, Brazil, just outside the penalty area, fairly wide though, it'll be about 20 or so yards out from goal. Rafinha, Dani Alves standing over it, will almost likely be a cross in towards the box. Brazil fans in the crowd with their phones out, ready to film as the ball comes in from Dani Alves. Not a great one towards the near post, headed away by Cameroon. Rafinha will pick up the loose scraps though. Look to go again now with Bruno Guimarães on the left-hand side. Drops it back all the way towards the goalkeeper in Edison, who first time fires it out towards this right-hand side. Dani Alves has Eder Militao ahead of him, goes in towards Bruno Guimarães in the middle of the field. He's been brought to ground there by Anguissa. Anguissa's done really well there to dispossess Bruno Guimarães and battle to win the ball back for his country. And now Olivier Incham just dancing in and out of Brazilian bodies before dropping the ball back in towards his defensive teammates. Anguissa's got a lot of space ahead of him on this left-hand side. Plays a 1-2 there with Oliver Incham in towards Vincent Abubakar. He's dispossessed there by Pedro, and now Brazil will look to counter-attack. I'm sure there won't be in any rush to throw bodies forward here as Everton Ribeiro picks the ball out on the left-hand side. Marquinhos into Martinelli. Under pressure here from Cambi. It's Choupo-Moting who is actually there, battling, nipping at the ankles of the young Brazilian winger. And Brazil back into steady possession. At this point, you just wonder whether Brazil will be happy to set up shop and just take the point and make sure they've got a 100% record going into the knockouts.
Yeah, I think that might be the wisest thing to do, but they're coming forward now.
They've got a chance here with Rafinha breaking into the penalty area, really direct running from him, and the ball into the box. Massive chance from Everton Ribeiro to get a shot on goal. It's Bruno Guimarães who actually gets there at the near post, plays the ball out to Rafinha and instantly makes that darting run completely unmarked, but it's massive defending there from the defender Wool to get there ahead of Bruno Guimarães, just to close up the angle for him and make it a little bit more difficult for the Brazilian. He doesn't actually get a touch on it, Wood, but it's a really good challenge to come in and put Guimarães off. Yeah, it's a fantastic piece of defending by Wu. He just steps in and gets to him first. I mean, it's gone behind for a corner kick. I'm not too sure where the touch came from, but that's what Rafinha does. He's direct. Rather than go inside on his left foot, he decided to go on the outside, which I think may have outfoxed the Cameroonian defenders. The corner has come in. It wasn't a great delivery. That's been a theme of tonight as well. Yeah, it has. It looked like they were breaking for a counter-attack there, Cameroon, but they've been stopped in their tracks by a swift pull on the shirt from Bruno Guimarães. He's going to go straight into the referee's book for that one. A common theme for this evening is players breaking on a counter-attack, and a lot of tactical fouls are flying in to break up play. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when we get to the latter stages of games, when there's
a lot of things on the line. Cameroon are going to make another alteration. It looks like Jerome and Bekele is going to come on, just a third cap for him. Seeing who's coming off, it's Ngomelu who's coming off, and Bekele is coming on to replace him. We saw a few of the Cameroonian fans in the stand almost dissenting that change. I don't think some of them were too happy with that decision.
It's a change that's more than lightly spirited by Rigobet's song. Expecting players to go out there and give 100% no matter what their chances are of progressing. I want them to give everything they can until the final whistle. Won't settle for any less as Anguissa now looks to feed the ball in towards Olivier Menchum. Helps it further towards Choupo-Moting. Now they've got a chance to whip a ball into the area. It's a dangerous one, but nobody was there at the front post. Challenge came in there from Bremer. Cameroon building a little bit of momentum here.
Yeah, they are, and it's the substitute, Bekele, who got the low ball into the box. Oh, and he's just miscontrolled it straight from the throw-in. Almost unforgivable, really, when you don't control the ball properly from there. Tite looks on from the sideline. He's just barking out instructions to his players. I mean, I think he'll be reasonably satisfied with this performance, given that they made wholesale changes. They've not conceded a goal. I mean, that'll be something that'll really please him. 3 clean sheets. Brazil coming forward now.
Yeah, Rafinha with a chance to cause havoc for this Cameroon defence. He's still moving forward. They've had to double up on him as Anguissa came across to cover. They're still moving forward though, Brazil. Gabriel Martinelli has got space in the box for Bruno Guimaraes. His first touch. Not sure whether he was trying to feed it further on to Pedro or go for goal. If it was a shot on goal, it was a very tame effort. I think it was more so a first touch to try and put it in the danger zone, but can't make anything work there as Brazil running out of ideas now, and Bruno Guimaraes helping that there with the ball into his feet. Just didn't really get it out quick enough. It'll be pretty comfortable for Cameroon.
Yeah, I think he was caught in two minds there, to be honest, whether to go for the shot or go for the cross. He puts too much pace on it for the cross, not enough pace for the shot. Nicely worked in midfield by Bruno Guimaraes, and it's noticeable they're trying to get the ball to Rafinha as much as he can.
Yeah, Rafinha looking very dangerous here as he looks to try and take on his man once again. He's doing really well to get in towards the penalty area, making fine inroads on the Cameroon box, but he's been stopped in his tracks by Tolo, who's been in fine form all evening, as he may have gone down there and just asking for a slight bit of treatment. Physios are up to their feet. Tolo being helped back to his feet by his teammates. The new FIFA laws we've seen introduced with added time, it's not going to favour him to time waste, is it? Especially in the fact that they need a goal as well, so his teammates are helping him back to his feet as quick as they can. Yeah,
that's what they've got to do. Cameroon need to go and get the win, but it's looking such a forlorn task now. It's still 3-2 to Switzerland in the other game, and Cameroon are looking doomed.
They are, and then a really nice chance sets up for Pedro in the penalty area. It's a really glaring opportunity. He had nobody around him, plenty of time and space from the throw-in. Cameroon defenders just switched off there, nobody marking him. He takes it out of his feet really nicely, just turns on the half turn, snatches at the effort. It's always rising. He's lifted it over the crossbar. There's a glaring opportunity for Brazil.
Yeah, big opportunity to take the lead. I think Pedro was just off balance as he went for the strike there, maybe thinking that he didn't have quite as much time as he did, because he had time for another touch. There were no Cameroon defenders that near to him, so Pedro maybe just a little bit undercooked as Brazil play it through the midfield now with Everton Ribeiro.
The ball forward looking for Pedro. It almost falls nicely to Bruno Guimaraes, but a good bit of defending comes flying in. And what we've seen time and time again this evening from this Cameroon side, they've been so astute at the back, always there throwing their bodies on the line to preserve their clean sheet. But it's up the other end, they're struggling to score goals. You can't fault anything they've done defensively. Just haven't really managed to make it work in the final third. Brazil come forward once again. Dani Alves whips the ball into the box. Nobody was prying on the end of the cross though. Pedro was making the run behind the defenders. Bit of miscommunication between him and Dani Alves, and getting on the end of the loose pass. It is the introduction, Bekele, who was absolutely flying past Bremer before he got the ball. Fell pretty favourably towards the Brazil goalkeeper and Ederson, but Bekele, he's got lightning pace to burn on that right-hand side, looking to break behind the Brazil defence.
Yeah, he does, and they need to try and give him the ball as much as they can, because I think he's had a good cameo so far. I mean, Brazil are playing it upfield. It's almost like Cameroon have got no midfield, because there are just gaps emerging everywhere, and Brazil could try and force a winning goal now. Cross comes in from Martinelli, and it's cleared behind by Christopher Wu for a Brazil corner. I mean, Cameroon are having to gamble now, and that's why Brazil are getting forward so often.
Yeah, Christopher Wu with a good bit of defending. Once again, throwing his body on the line there to preserve this clean sheet that they do have. Brazil do have the chance from the corner. We're going to see 9 additional minutes of added time on top of the mandatory 90, so plenty of time still left to play. It still could be anyone's game.
Yeah, it could. I mean, 9 minutes, that'll be music to Cameroon's ears, but unfortunately, again, we go back to the point. They need Serbia to do them a favour as the corner comes in. It's up towards Bremer. It's cleared up in the air by Olivier Ncham, so Brazil still with a chance to get the ball and get forward.
It's been broken down there. Edi Militao trying to chase the ball on this near side. He couldn't latch on to the end of the pass. Cameroon with a chance from the throw-in. Tolo just instructing to his teammates that he won't be able to take the throw-in. I think he's got a slight shoulder problem. So he's asked the boss to come over and take the throw. He's dropped into that centre-back role to fill in for Ibos. Throws the ball over the top, looking for the run of Toko and Cambi, but once again Brazil in steady possession. And the game's just fallen a little bit flat now. I think Cameroon have realised it's too much of an uphill battle now. They need too many independent variables to go in their favour. They need to win themselves. They need Serbia to do themselves a favour. I don't think it's going to come for them, and I think they know that as well, but nonetheless they're still going to go for it as a ball comes into the box, looking for Vincent Aboubakar, and he's got on the end of it in the 91st minute. Vincent Aboubakar, the man who clawed them back from the depths of defeat last time out, has done it at the death here to give Cameroon a 1-0 lead against Brazil.
Well, I don't want to be a killjoy, but he's just taking his shirt off and he's been booked, so I think he's going to get sent off for that as Neymar looks on. Vincent Aboubakar with the goal. It's a really good counter-attack. I don't think Aboubakar realises just what he's done there, so we'll wait and see what fate belies him. But Cameroon, really, really good play from Vincent Aboubakar. Steamed into the box, got on the end of that header, and Cameroon lead by a 1-0, and what an ending we could have.
Yeah, Vincent Aboubakar shows his shirt towards the fans, but the referee is there with the red card in his hands. Vincent Aboubakar is not going to play out the final few minutes of this game. Referee goes over just to have a word with him, shakes Aboubakar's hand, and I think he realises what he's done now, and he has been sent off. If there is a miraculous change in the Serbia-Switzerland game, and Cameroon do somehow get themselves into the round of 16, Vincent Aboubakar will not be able to continue.
I've never known someone look so happy to get a red card. It's really strange, but it's good direct play. It's old-fashioned wide play from Cameroon. The cross is absolutely perfect on that far side. I'm not actually sure who it was that sent it into the box, but the header was also a cross goal. Ederson was rooted to his spot. Perfect strike from Vincent Aboubakar, and I think the millisecond he took his shirt off, he probably knew what his fate was.
He over-exaggerated the celebration slightly, realising his fate. There was no turning back. He might as well double down on his efforts and make the most and milk that celebration, and that's exactly what he did. Now Cameroon are going to finish the game with only 10 men as Rafinha plays the ball into the box. It's cleared away there by Zambo Anguissa, and the second clearance coming in from a boss was ran down by one of the Brazilian front three, and they go out for a goal kick, so they'll have a chance to settle things down now, Cameroon, and they're going to be praying for a result in the other game between Serbia and Switzerland, which still hasn't come to a conclusion. As it stands, Switzerland still go through on 6 points, Cameroon on 4. So really desperate times, but it's still not over, and it's still not out of the realms of possibility.
No, it isn't, and Cameroon have just got to hope, more than hope. We are 90 plus 5 minutes into the Serbia-Switzerland game. We're not sure how much time has been added on in that one, so Switzerland have simply got to try and hold on to their win against Serbia 3-2. I mean, it's been a stout effort from Cameroon throughout this evening. I think they were poor in the first half, but they've been much better in this second period. The only problem is they've been so open in midfield, they've allowed Brazil many chances to get forward.
Not obviously watching the game in the other game in Group G, but I can imagine how it's playing out. Switzerland sitting back, trying to preserve their win. Serbia throwing everything but the kitchen sink at them in order to bring it back to level terms. But even if they do, Serbia still won't be progressing no matter the outcome. As the ball goes into the box for Brazil, the header in by Pedro. Wasn't going to test the goalkeeper there, but it wasn't far away from going goal bound. Just flies wide of the post, and you can see the hearts were in the mouths of the Cameroon fans in the stadium. Samuel Eto'o watching on there. Really good chance for Brazil to level things. Yeah,
absolutely. A really good opportunity. Excellent cross sent into the box, and Pedro just gets the slightest sort of glancing blow on that header. It wasn't enough to redirect it towards target. I mean, what do Cameroon do now? Do they try and build upon this lead, because goal difference could come into the state of play as well, or do they hold on for everything they've got? I mean, it's the psychological warfare really of the third group game when groups are as tight as this.
The ball goes out towards Martinelli. Ribeiro making a run. The overlap. So is Marquinhos. Marquinhos does receive it back though on the unfavoured left foot. Scoops the ball in towards Bruno Guimaraes, and it's a big header. Looked like it was heading for the top corner before a massive save from Apasi to deny. The Brazilian midfielder, he got across his box and did well to hold on to it as well, not tip it back into trouble. But another big chance for Brazil to equal things.
Yeah, he slightly mistimes the jump, so the header's kind of going in more of a looping fashion rather than powerfully towards goal, and that makes the save more straightforward for Apasi. But he was unmarked as well, so that's a huge opportunity for Brazil.
To move forward with Fabinho now. There's not much time left for the Brazilians to preserve their unbeaten streak in Group G. Martinelli moving forward. He's got Marquinhos further out wide. Does go back towards the defender. Now Fabinho. They're looking to move from left to right here, Brazil. Plenty of space on this right-hand side for Dani Alves to hook the ball in towards the far post. It's a good one towards Marquinhos. Heads it back into trouble, and then Martinelli can't finish it off. It's a free header. The ball was just behind the Arsenal man, so he couldn't direct it downwards at goal, and it flies past the post. And it just came a little bit too quick for Martinelli as it arrives on their head, and they just, no matter what they're trying, they can't get the ball over the line, Brazil.
Yeah, it's just been one of those evenings for Brazil where you could probably ask them to play another 90 minutes and they probably wouldn't score. Really good play from Marquinhos, reversing it back to Martinelli, but you're absolutely right. He simply couldn't react and get off the ground quickly enough for that ball to come across. It was always going to go over the bar, or the header was always going to go rising into the sky. And Cameroon have got a minute to hold on, and it looks like it's going to be a bittersweet victory for them.
Dani Alves throws the ball back in play for Brazil as they've got around about a minute left of additional time here. Marquinhos helps it on further to Martinelli. Always looking to take on his man despite being almost 100 minutes into the football game. Still taking on players with ease here as Everton Ribeiro hooks the ball in towards the penalty area. Can't pick out Rafinha, but it's fallen back towards Eden Militao. Once again, Dani Alves with plenty of space on this right-hand side. Delivers a ball deep towards the far post. Martinelli can't win it, but it's back down to Rafinha, and then a shot comes in. They can't get the ball over the line no matter what they do, Brazil. Bruno Guimaraes with a perfect opportunity to slot home, and he's just hooked it over the crossbar and over the goalkeeper. It still remains Cameroon 1, Brazil 0.
Well, once again, it's just the bounce of the ball not falling for Brazil. Marquinhos chests it down, but as Bruno Guimaraes wants to go and strike it, the ball takes a bounce up into the air. It's almost hip height, so he has to get his leg up, and he can't keep it underneath the crossbar. Amazing stuff, really, this end of this game.
It's almost all but said and done here as the Cameroon realise that it's not going their way this evening. No matter what they do, they've got their result against tournament favourites Brazil, but even that wasn't enough for them as the ball was played forward from Cameroon, gone out of play for a Brazil throw. The game back underway quickly here as Brazil want to maintain their unbeaten record in Group G and use that momentum to progress into the round of 16. As it stands, they'll be playing South Korea on Tuesday. but they've run the ball out of play for a goal kick, and you just think that might be everything.
Yeah, I think we're about to hit the 100-minute mark now, and I don't think Brazil have got anything left in the tank. Cameroon earning, I suppose, a well-deserved victory because they've taken their chance, and Brazil haven't taken any of theirs that have been presented to them.
And, plenty of opportunities, Brazil, much like the game against Switzerland. Maybe some slight concerns for Tite's side that had all these opportunities and they haven't done anything with it, but the referee has drawn a close to the spectacle. Despite their fantastic efforts, Cameroon will be crushing out of Group G as Brazil top the group and go through in towards the round of 16 to face South Korea. But it's all heartbreak for Cameroon, as no matter what they did, they, as it stands, will not be progressing through the group, as Serbia have failed to get a result against Switzerland.